What's up, YouTube? It's time for a review of the new Alter Bridge record, The Last Hero, out this past Friday, October 7th. Highly anticipated album for me personally. It's been a little bit over 3 years since their last record, Fortress, dropped, which was without a doubt their crowning achievement thus far. What's so exceptional about Fortress is that the band finally allowed their metal-tinged hard rock sound to fully blossom into something that was more a full metal sound, just with Miles Kennedy's hard rock vocals on top of it. On Blackbird and AB3 especially, it always felt to me that there was this metal band that was caged inside of Alter Bridge, just dying to break out and run free, and when they finally allowed that to happen with Fortress, the results were just outstanding. Songs like Bleed It Dry and Farther From the Sun and Cry of Achilles all kind of proved that legitimately mean and aggressive guitars could coexist perfectly well with the soaring, ultra-melodic, occasionally crooning vocals that Miles Kennedy delivers so masterfully. To put everything in context, if I was giving album scores back in 2013, Fortress would have gotten a 9 out of 10 from me. It was one of my very favorites of the year. You can actually, if you so desire, you can actually see an old video where I review it over here. And you can check out my top 10 Alter Bridge songs blog posts in the description of this video. That's more recent. But anyway, here we are 3 years later. I honestly didn't know what to expect with this new record, The Last Hero, but I definitely went into it hoping that they would continue along that same heavier, riffier path that they really barreled down with Fortress. And a majority of the time, The Last Hero is kind of a logical continuation of Fortress. Right off the bat, I think Show Me a Leader is a real strong lead single and opening track. The intro here builds just the right amount of tension, so by the time that first guitar solo ends and the song really launches full throttle into that main driving riff, you're already past that whole expectant intro to a record mindset, that whole what's this going to sound like, and you're already able to be right in that energy. It's something that Cry of Achilles did really well on Fortress. I like that the chorus to Show Me a Leader includes these rhythmic punches that are synced up with the vocals. I think it grabs the listener's attention a bit more that way. But aside from that, this is really just a straightforward, kick-ass rocker. It doesn't try to be too adventurous as a first song or overstep its boundaries. It really just lets the intro set it up and then just maintains this hurried pace throughout. Also, lyrically, Show Me a Leader couldn't be better timed given that it's mid-October and we're literally weeks away from a shit show of an election. Because to me, the lyrics here are a brilliant and concise reflection of how constituents feel about American politics right now. And I think a lot of people are going to connect with this song, especially right now. So moving on, when we get to the third song on the album, The Other Side, we find Alter Bridge in full-on metal mode. The first instrumental sound that we hear on this song is this real sludgy, doomy guitar riff that's just so beautifully ugly and does a great job setting up what comes next, which is this bludgeoning, dissonant, headbanging riff, which has got to be in the top 5 heaviest Alter Bridge grooves in their catalog. And then things pick up a bit tempo-wise for the pre-chorus riff, which literally sounds like it's cascading down on top of you, which kind of fits with the lyrical themes here of reaching the afterlife and then paying for all of your wrongdoings at once. There's also that breakdown that happens around the 3-minute, 30-second mark where the band employ these eerie, repeating guitar sounds that wouldn't be too out of place in a horror movie. In general, this song is a solid successor to Bleed It Dry off of Fortress in that it leans heavily, excuse the pun, towards the metal side of things. Island of Fools is the other track on The Last Hero that does that. The main riff to this one is just a fucking bulldozer. It's literally telling you to get the fuck out of its way. And in terms of the chorus on this one, I especially dig that ascending guitar line. It makes this sliding ascension almost as if it's sitting upright as it's being played. And look, we'll have to excuse the chorus lyrics, which use the phrase "save yourself," which is one of the most blatantly horrific cliches in rock lyrics, period. This next point is going to be kind of a hard one to put into words, but I'm going to do my best. The Last Hero is a fantastic album for the fall season. Anyone who lives in the Northeast or any seasonal area might understand what I'm saying. The atmosphere and the feeling in the air during fall is really one of a kind, to the point where personally I have this crystal clear nostalgic memory of the albums that have soundtracked the fall for me in the past. Like 2008, I clearly remember Trivium Shogun. 2012, I clearly remember Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. The fall is where nature is at its peak beauty. The leaves have turned, the sun is shining, but there's this crispness in the air and a sense that this whole thing isn't going to last. So it leaves you with conflicting emotions. And for me at least, the music that I listen to during this time kind of reflects that too. Summer party songs don't really do it for me anymore, but things aren't dreary enough yet for like depressive black metal. So I end up seeking out music that instills a sense of hope and optimism, but also acknowledges the very real challenges and struggles that life throws at you. And The Last Hero is that type of album. And ironically, the song that got me thinking about all this was My Champion, which is by far the most positive and self-empowering song on the record. But it was an immediate standout to me. And, look, maybe I'm crazy. No, I'm definitely crazy. But texturally, it feels like it's a somewhat chilly mid-October afternoon, which, look, I can't describe to you what that sounds like. It just feels that way to me. What I can describe is that this song is just this massive arena-ready wall of sound. That 3-note chord progression that comes in around 20 seconds and weaves in and out just hits home for me. Something about it. And it's funny because this is usually the type of song that I don't like from this band. On paper, the lyrics are so like straightforward, almost as to be kind of sappy or corny. And they make the message, the motivational message of this song so transparent. But it's a beautiful tune. It just moved me. And maybe it's partly because of the transparency of the message. You know exactly what the purpose of the song is and what Miles Kennedy and company are trying to say. But either way, it's one of my very favorite songs on the record, and I was kind of surprised by how much I liked it. Another favorite of mine that I'd like to mention is the song Losing Patience, which for my money would have been a stronger third pre-album single than Poison in Your Veins was. Just the layers and layers of vocals in the song's chorus actually add to the song's power significantly rather than feeling overdone as they often do in this case. And the fact that the verses are more subdued adds to the contrast, so when the chorus does really explode, it explodes with that much more excitement. And the title track, The Last Hero, is another big favorite of mine. Musically, this one pulls out all the stops. I was really impressed with this one because they kind of reached for that epic, dynamic album closer, and they pulled it off with this one. I especially love that killer tremolo picking riff that first shows up around 30 seconds in and almost has like a tinge of death metal to it when the harmony is thrown on top. The song also has multiple grand, larger-than-life guitar solos. It's got this Pantera-style breakdown that comes in after the first solo, which when I heard that I immediately thought of Domination. The lyrics here are also so bleak and dark, especially by Alter Bridge standards, but they really felt appropriate. Although the song does go through several mood swings and changes of pace, which is why I kind of use the words epic and dynamic. It's really the one moment on the LP where I feel like Alter Bridge took their sound into some uncharted territory. Which leads me to a criticism of this album. Fortress is the only album in the Alter Bridge catalog, to me, where they pulled off a no-filler record. Unfortunately, in the case of The Last Hero, I think that a tight, solid 10 tracks would have made a more commanding statement. There are no songs that are outright bad or a chore to listen to, but there are a few songs that either make a point that's already been made or just don't really feel like they belong. In particular, the two songs that I felt should have been on the cutting room floor are You Will Be Remembered and Twilight. Both of these songs felt disruptive to the album's mood in that they kind of had this bright and radiant sound that didn't really fit, but also disruptive to the album's pace, because many of these songs already have slower and calmer moments already built into them. Songs like Cradle to the Grave or This Side of Fate, these songs already take time out to kind of lessen the pace for a bit. So it didn't really feel like there was any need to have these two radio rock tunes that would have been more at home on like Blackbird or One Day Remains. But the thing is, aside from those two tracks, even the songs on The Last Hero that maybe have like a hook that I find a little lazy or dull, even songs like that have moments elsewhere that redeem them. This Side of Fate being the best example. a couple minutes into this song, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really into that sparse style of lyricism where nothing's really being said. I mean, like, read the lyrics of the song. Like, nothing is being said that could mean anything to anybody. I'm not really into that, and the hook isn't really grabbing me either. But then, 2 minutes and 45 seconds in, a guitar lead kicks in, and it really becomes this whole other song. The way Miles just belts out those high notes at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, that just gives me chills. And there's 2 great guitar solos in this song as well, one in the middle and one to close the song out. This song doesn't even climax until 4 minutes and 30 seconds in, so it's not necessarily fair to write it off, because in its second half, it undergoes this monstrous expansion. So in terms of the track list, what we're left with is no real decipherably weak songs and a bunch of real strong and powerful statements made by the band. In most ways, I'd say that The Last Hero picks up pretty much where Fortress left off. It's lots of metallic riffs mixed with anthemic vocals and a fairly straightforward rhythm section. Production-wise, it often feels more indulgent than Fortress was, and there are a few moments where they sort of backpedal to that Blackbird and AB3 sound. But I'm really digging this album. It's powerful, it's memorable, and Alter Bridge continue to occupy a completely singular space of real estate in my mind as a music fan. They're that rare band plopped right in the middle of Breaking Benjamin and Machine Head, and The Last Hero finds them continuing to excel in that space. The Last Hero gets an 8 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I'll see you guys soon.